you
fun.
so much. Yeah, so this is Child Development 112. This is week 3. We're talking about indoor-outdoor environments. We have our guest speaker, Darcie Kass, who's the owner, director of A Child's Place, and she's going to give us the inside scoop of how it's going with COVID and coming out of the COVID cloud. Thank you.
Yeah, we are coming out of it. I hope. So thank you. Yes, Darcie Kass, own direct A Child's Place. We are a private, for-profit, full inclusion center in Costa Mesa. The program, the site center has been around since 1978. I wasn't there back then, but the previous owners, Patty and Bob Smith, opened it up in 1978. I started there in 1997. My son attended, he was 2. My daughter attended, I was a volunteer, then I taught for a year in the pre-K class. Then in 99, I became director, and in 2012, I purchased the business. So I've seen it as a volunteer, as a parent, volunteer, a teacher, director, owner, kind of been through the whole gamut. It's been quite a trip, I have to tell you.
Talk about an evolution. I mean, you obviously love it if you went back and got your education to support this. And do you mind sharing with the students what your background is in your education?
I originally am, I'm from Canada, and my my previous career was I worked at Canada Safeway as a department manager. So sorry, cats are running all over the place.
And we all have the same.
Manager.
So you're good. Such is life. Yeah. Such is life.
And then in 85, came down here on vacation, met my now ex-husband, moved down. Then I worked for a contractor. I was his office manager, bookkeeper. So I have a strong background in management, in staff development, accounting and bookkeeping. What I didn't have was the early childhood portion. So when I became director, I had to go, to school and take all that kind of stuff, exactly what you're all taking now. And then we went forward with getting accredited through NAYC.
And that's a huge process. Yeah, it's a huge process.
That was,
and it's not cheap either.
Nightmares over it.
Yeah, it's not cheap either.
So we were accredited from 2005 to 2010. But if we wanted to get re-accredited in 2010 to 2015, the director had to have a bachelor's. So I went back to school online like you're all doing now. I got my bachelor's in human services and management, and we got reaccredited, from 2010 to 2015.
Gorgeous.
In the meantime, I was very fortunate to be approached by Orange Coast College. At that time, I do know their department head, and what they were looking for was having quality centers to place their field experience and practicum students in. All of these teachers, future teachers, need to go through that, but yet they can't do it all in their lab school.
Right.
So they recognized that. They chose a couple of centers in our area that they are familiar with, mine being one of them. They hired me on as part-time faculty, and I would supervise the students that came to my center.
Great.
And it was really great. I loved it. I love seeing everybody have those hands-on experiences. But what I was realizing was, and like I said, we're full inclusion. So we have children at our center. I've had the gamut. I mean, autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, so many children with challenging behaviors, leg braces, wheelchairs,
G2.
all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting these students coming in and they are hands-on with our kiddos, but experiencing like a temper tantrum or something wild and crazy. And they're like freaking out. They're like, and I'm,
Yeah.
So what do you know about inclusion? What do you know about challenging behaviors? What do you know about? And they would kind of tell me, well, there was a chapter in the textbook or a paragraph or something,
Yeah.
but you've never had that hands-on experience. You don't know exactly what we're dealing with.
Right. It's a word and a definition in a
And they
two-dimensional
didn't.
book. Yeah.
So they didn't. And that's what motivated me to go back to school to get my master's so I could teach at the college level.
Yay.
And I've been very blessed. My first gig was Santiago, Human Development 107. Jody was my mentor. I went in and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then through Santa Ana College, who was developing their certificate for children with special needs, I met Marianne, who was, we worked together, colleague on developing a new class that I'm teaching. And so it's really evolved. I'm super excited. I'm all about inclusion, keeping those kiddos, in our gen ed classrooms. So,
and thank you so much for your dedication, because just like what you said, so if you guys are ever interested in talking more about full inclusion, please take 205 with either one of us. Darcie also teaches 206, 207, which is curriculum for special needs. And then like that last 207 piece is putting all the people together, all the team, all the things, all the pieces together. And this field is such an X factor field. And so thank you for just being you. And as I speak about X Factor Field, I have a little boogie boo behind me. Please don't come in, buddy. I'm in class. Hi. I love you, but no. Can I say hi? No, I love you, but no. I love you. Thank you. Good night. Like, it's never ending. But honestly, I was talking with Jody before class of talking about your natural set point, and your natural set point is so much. You advocate so much in our field. You have your hands in so many different pots, just because that is naturally you. It's not like somebody forced you to do it. You're just like, okay, wait, this is a need in our community and this needs to be put together. So I'm going to put that together. And wait, here's another need in the community that I put together. So, and then at the same time, you're still managing the kids in the program, which is amazing. So now I have been to your program. Now with COVID restrictions, there is no parents, there's no volunteers, there's no practicum placement. There's it's wild.
Yeah.
How are you doing? How are the kiddos doing with all of these restrictions and safety protocols? Like, how is this going?
Well, it's a little bit of a challenge, I will say. It breaks my heart that we cannot all be together.
Right.
So I have a very small center, licensed for 48, but at this point, I only have 25 children enrolled. Why? Because we have to keep them socially distant in the classrooms.
How's that going?
So we have kind of blocked off. It's working. I have to say. And 3 weeks ago, we implemented face masks with the kids, which I fought long and hard against. went head to head with licensing. In fact, they know me and I think I'm on the blacklist, but don't say anything.
Maybe it's
Marianne,
Glenn the
you've
Gray
seen the emails. Jody, you have too, that
But
I've sent out, and
oh,
I
I've
got
seen
in
them
a
all, and I'm like, you go, Marianne. I mean,
Yeah.
you go. Yeah,
I know. I got in a little bit of poop with Sacramento.
yes,
So
But you know what? That just
I
shows
did.
your passion is showing.
exactly. That's all it says. It's just, you're fighting for the kids.
And how are they handling
Well,
masks? How
they are doing pretty gosh darn good. I am
surprised? They
surprised.
surprise you every
I
day.
am. Yeah. And I only have 3 2-year-olds right now.
Okay.
They are having a little bit of an issue,
Okay.
keeping it on all the time, but it's just gentle reminders. Hey, come on, face mask. You can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been different. I'm about I usually have about 65 kids enrolled. Not all of them come full
Right.
time. Right now I have 25. Not all of them come full time. I've had to change my hours.
Mhm.
We used to be 6:30 till 6 p.m.
Wow.
We are now 8 to 5. Drop off is, check in, temperature checks, questions. Parents do not get to come into the school.
Not even one.
Nope. Nope. They put the child's lunch, which is not in a lunch bag. I mean, a lunch box. It's in a brown bag.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else the child has, we take it, put it to a separate table. We spray it down with the bleach water solution, then take it in. Temperatures are checked. Children, we escort the kids to the class. Parents haven't been in our program since March 12th of last year in the center physically.
So speaking of your center physically, how do you create with all these restrictions right now? How do you create? Oh, hey, go Packers! How do you create? How do you create a welcoming environment inside and outside? Even though these kids are, I know kids don't understand all the business, but they're still mildly stressed with all these extra rules
Right.
and extra business. How do you still create a welcoming environment? Because I mean, I've seen your place. Your place is pretty amazing, but how do you know that you're doing a good job with your environment despite all these restrictions?
I think just seeing the happiness, and I'm getting a little message. My internet connection is unstable. I'm so sorry if
Welcome
I'm
to the club.
breaking in and out, but they're happy to come to school. I do check in.
Good.
And I love these kids, and I've never spent so much time one-on-one with them and with their parents. Before, I'd be in the office, I'd see them come in the gate, I'd wave, walk out in the playground, hey. Now we have these one-on-one. I'm the person who does the staff breaks.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be sharing cohorts and all that,
Mhm.
but I can't hire someone just to, it
seems like just frustration and madness, and every day is the same but a little bit different.
right.
Oy.
So I do the staff teacher breaks. I only have 3 classrooms. I go in, I relieve them for lunch, usually at nap time. I go outside and do the breaks. I'm playing. I've never had so much interactions. And I got to tell you, I think this is my favorite part of COVID.
Right. These blessings and silver linings, they're around. They abound.
Yeah. and freeway traffic. Love it.
The commute has changed. Absolutely. The commute has changed. Now, like I said, I've been to your
Yes, it
center,
has.
and I know last summer you like updated the outside and all those like cool little facilities and like the park and the parents painting the fence and things like that. How are
Yeah.
you how I know that's kind of like your new do you have any like I know this might be a sore subject, but any like what are your goals for the inside of the center? Not that I'm pushing you, but like I know you have a beautiful setup in there, but I know nothing's ever static. Things are always changing or updating. How do you keep that inside environment engaging
Well,
and safe?
oh my gosh, I've got the most creative teachers ever, who are constantly, changing their centers, putting up new paper, focusing on the kids' art, letting the children, and it's hard. It's really hard, Marianne, Jody, and everybody. We would have this magnificent block center where, you know, half the class would go and they build and they're creating. Now they have to be kept separate. So now we have all of our centers are now designated each day to one child.
Oh,
But they're not, I don't have block centers anymore. I have a center that has puzzles, Legos, blocks, manipulatives, in every center,
oh,
so the children can have enough toys and things to play with. We do not have a dress up center. We're not allowed to have dress up clothing. We're not allowed to have stuffed animals, pillows, soft areas, nothing.
it's
We are
frustrating.
not allowed to have books.
Oh,
What? I know, I get it.
unless you have like one book for each center, is what you're saying.
Well, and the paper books were not,
Right, because
but we have the card, the thick books, because then we can spray them down and sanitize them.
right. It's all these little things that you didn't
So
really consider. Now you have to extra consider.
That was
yes,
one thing I was
but the
wondering
key
about.
thing is the kids coming in. I will say, because it is a smaller group of children, they have bonded
Good.
more.
Well,
I'm seeing my group, I've got 12 in the pre-K class, 12 kids. And they are like besties. It's really interesting to see how the dynamics have changed. And the more attention they're getting from the teachers. Not that we weren't giving attention,
well, the ratio.
but when you have a class of 18 kids, the ratios are different. So, and the interactions with me and everyone else, it's really a different kind of
Interesting blessing.
world.
An interesting blessing. I'm hearing. So I know now that we're getting new orders and possibly transitioning and things like that. What's next? And then I'm gonna open it up to the students to ask a few questions.
As of this time, I was just talking about this with a friend of mine, because yes, things are changing. We're going to go into the red tier,
Mm-hmm.
but they're still going to want the social distancing. So even though you can now have 25% in your restaurant or 50% in, your restaurant, or 100 people at Anaheim Stadium, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't have that physical space. I don't have a place like Mariners Preschool where Lisa, who is the director, has something like 20 classrooms available. I don't. I'm little itty bitty and I can't fit any more in. I can't at this time change my hours. We're, like I said, we used to be 6:30 till 6. Now we're 8 to 5 because that's when we can all be there. I cannot hire more people to come in earlier and stay later. For the amount of children I have, I can't do it.
Fiscally, it's not
So
possible.
I don't
Is
see.
that because the money aspects? Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
money.
I
Yeah, I mean, I've got 25 kids enrolled.
yeah,
Right now, I'm blessed. I can keep 4 teachers employed. I am so lucky that the owner, the previous owner, she owns the property. She has reduced my rent
oh, wow.
by 75%.
Well,
If
that's-
she
Never make
didn't
it.
do that, I would be out of business.
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm blessed for is the fact that I can teach. That's what's keeping my school open. I'm teaching college classes.
Wow.
Or else, you know what?
To be another
gonna
COVID
happen.
statistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the work that you do is so impressive. Like again, like you said earlier, full inclusion is not it's a concept, but there's more than the two-dimensional words on a page. It's deep and rich and it's convoluted and it's different every day and it looks different in every way with every student. And you are so committed to that. I love your passion, love your
Well,
focus.
and
It's so please, it's like we need to keep you there.
thank you. But
Unique and so needed.
yeah, thank you. But the unfortunate thing is that I don't have any of my kiddos with varying abilities now
Oh.
because I can't have their
Oh.
BIs, their support teams.
Right.
Oh, I
101%
didn't even think
can't
about that.
Can't
Wow.
even take volunteers right now.
No.
So I have a number of kiddos who do have speech language. I do have a couple who are on the spectrum, but incredibly high functioning. They don't need to have that individual support. There is no way I can do it right now
Not right now.
if they had to.
But your heart's still in it and you're always open.
Yeah, no, it's all gonna come back. It's all gonna
Yeah.
happen again.
So, and again, thank you so much. Your wealth of knowledge and your firsthand experiential. I think this is a huge piece to show students, to share with students, because I think at this point, I think our child development majors are not under any illusion that this is like all rainbows and teddy bears every single day. But at the same time, I think the community college has almost an imperative to show the reality, because we are doing business prep. We are in education.
Yeah.
We're at this part of this prong of education, but we are also career prep. And so we want people to be out there, and that's why we have practicum and things like that. And we're still feeling the brunt of, not being able to place students. And, hopefully next year we're revamping the mentor program, which is really exciting. And so I want to open it up to the students. Now that you have somebody who's on the front lines and then organizing the front lines and then reorganizing the front lines and then emailing all of us on the front lines and then having another meeting with the front lines and then going back to the students on the front lines, and then you have one of the most, I would say, well-rounded and most passionate people I have ever met, ever.
Oh,
And
stop.
no, seriously, Darcie, like your depth of like energy is unbelievable. And you're the person who, even when on those days when you don't feel like it, you're still going for it. And I'm just like, how do you do
Well,
that?
thank you.
How do you do that?
That's
How do
very
you do
kind.
that? Please, students, you have somebody here who is, we were talking about our mighty little department, between you and Jody and Janet and Alexi and Shelby and Regina, we have such a little tiny little powerhouse. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable the leadership that just the two of you provide. I'm just like I said, I told Jody I consider myself the backup singer to you guys. like like the Supremes are on stage and I'm like organizing the bus schedule on the back. Like students, please jump in if you have.
No, we couldn't do it without you. Honestly, you are such an inspiration. But just to let your students know, I mean, give my contact information if they ever, any of you ever need once things change and you need to do observations or interviews or blah, 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 or just want to come by and, you know, take a peek. I'm very, very happy to, you know, to accommodate in any way, because you, all of you, are the future of early childhood. I mean, you guys are taking the next steps to providing quality, inclusive early education and care.
Yes.
And that's a lot. And we are not recognized enough for the work that we do. We are molding these little itty bitty things.
That's these humanoids.
From 0 to 5. And
So, wow.
it's where it all starts, man.
And we're also, if you want a better, I tell people, if you really have a better vision for the future, how do you guarantee that? And plant the seeds within the future now. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yes, there's so much work to do, but I'm really, because education on its own has really like turned like 180 degrees, our industry will never be the same. And so I'm looking at this as an opportunity for better. That's what I'm in it for, because my background as a therapist was like, why am I doing therapy with people who were getting all these damages in childhood? Let's go back there and fix that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Right? And so again, our industry, we have nowhere to go but up. Whereas yes, the restaurant industry has still had its setbacks, but no. Education is so sideways right now, we have nowhere to go but up. Yeah. So students, please, I'm encouraging you.
Has to.
Now, I did put, Darcie, I did put your email in the chat, and so if you guys want to grab that, if you like didn't grab that or whatever at some other time, you're welcome to like tap me, and I can always make the connect. But again, you have Professor Kass or Darcie here to ask any questions, comments, concerns. Even if you're like, I don't know what full inclusion is. What is that? Come take 205, but right now she can give you a short answer. Anything. Look at that smile. She's like ready to go. She worked all day and she was like, yeah, sure, I'll come talk to your class. Absolutely. Like, wow.
I know. Well, we emailed her.
So
yesterday.
just to let y'all know, and I'll let Jody and Marianne know, in the next few months, I think one time per month or whatever, my cohort, my colleague, Wendy Evans, who was the inclusion director at my center. Marianne knows her. Jody, you know Wendy. Turquoise hair, pink hair, whatever she's
the best.
Wendy is phenomenal. Unfortunately, because of COVID, she had to go and find a full-time job. She couldn't work part-time for me.
But you facilitated that.
But we are very close.
Yeah.
Yes. But we have been presenting for, holy smokes, I went and looked back since 2014.
Wow.
On inclusion, challenging behaviors, special populations. Children's Home Society, and I know y'all know about that because you're in this class, reached out and they've asked us to do a series of presentations. We're doing some for parents and some for providers. We have two. One is going to be on inclusion and the special populations, and the other is going to be on supporting children with challenging behaviors and the importance of social skills. These are free workshops. I got the dates, but they're still putting together the flyers and all that. It's all going to be on Zoom. So I will let Jody and Marianne know when those are.
Beautiful.
And you're very welcome to come and hang out with Wendy and I and listen to our stuff.
So motivating, honestly. Even like, I'm telling you, even, I mean, I've been so saturated, and you heard my little monkey over my corner. Like, I teach it, but I also live it. But I still like coming to these, I mean, telling you. So I still love coming to workshops because there's always something new, always something, always
Right.
something new. That's, yeah. And so really excited to hear about that. And Children's Home Society has been around forever, forever. in different-
Well, there are resource referral agency. I mean, I think they're really starting to step it up a little bit based on inclusion.
Yeah.
Providing more, but then the Inclusion Collaborative has really been pushing for that. So yeah,
Cool.
I've got a lot of stuff to share. So I hope to see you guys maybe in 205, 206, or 207.
And our narrative is
very-
our narrative has for our certificate has been submitted. So hopefully we'll have that certificate all like ready, wrapped up and ready to go as we write another one for trauma and another one for language and literacy. Thank you, Jody.
You guys have no idea what great things Santiago Canyon College is doing.
The behind the
For
scenes
early
stuff is
childhood.
pretty, yeah, the behind the scenes stuff is pretty wild. I think that's why I'm here, to do that really stinky workhorse stuff. And I'm happy to do it.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it. Because
Yeah,
again,
it's so
it
cool.
funnels more people.
Other colleges aren't quite doing it.
I mean, honestly, so enamored of and grateful to be in your guys' orbit. Any questions before we let Darcie go?
Adriana, you're overly tired. Oh, I see. Your mind
I miss
blocked.
Darcie.
See? It's a small
Nice
world.
to
I
see you
love it.
again.
Hey, you.
Love
It's
Nice
it.
to
good
see
to
you
see
again.
you.
Yay.
I had her for 107.
Yay. Seriously. So awesome. So awesome.
She has so
love
much energy.
107.
Yeah.
I know.
And we were in person. Yes.
Yeah, we were in person by that time.
I know, isn't
Yeah.
that wild? It was like last year then.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's a couple of years. I
Yeah,
think.
like 2
Fire
years
prayer.
probably.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, good to see you.
You too.
Okay, so again, we'll wrap it up with Darcie. I don't want to keep her too long. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh,
I know
gosh,
after a
you're
long day of
welcome.
work, after a long day of work, there's like, do I really want to talk about work after a long day of work? But this is
Well,
just,
I don't think we really shared too much about health and safety.
it's
Talked
all
more
in the,
about
it's
just,
all in the,
but there's a lot.
There's a
There is a lot. And you know what? I'll email you. I have to remember to do this. I'll email you what our protocols and regulations are.
please.
So what we've sent to the parents, all of the information that we've given to both licensing and other agencies on how to reopen, what protocols we follow, what forms we fill out. I'll send all of that stuff to you.
And you had sent
And then
prior,
you can share it with the group.
and you had sent prior, I think it was last week, that you had in your, I think it was your director's meeting, where community care licensing came and presented, and then you shared the PowerPoints.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if I was allowed to share that. So what do you think? Am I
Go
allowed?
ahead.
Are you sure? Or do you want to give me her contact?
Yeah. She gives it to me.
Whether you like it or not.
If Jane gives it to me, Jane knows it's going all over the place.
There, because,
That's why I got in trouble.
well, you mean admonished through Zoom. A little finger wag through Zoom.
No, she called me and told me, she was like, you know what, Darcie, oh, you opened up a big can of worms with this mask thing. In fact, my manager from Sacramento called me and said, who is this Darcie?
No, I've gotten one of those calls before when Susie called me. Hey, who is this Darcie person?
I got to learn to
The burr in your
It's so gorgeous to see you again. I miss your energy.
Oh,
It's
thanks.
to be back
Hey,
face to face.
Darcie, I
Yeah.
have one quick question for you.
Yes.
Here. Is there, and I just want to make sure we're doing this because we're having the students do the master reporter training. Is there only one source that they can use? Or is
Yes.
it through the Department of Social Services website, the DSS? Yeah.
If they are doing it for Title 22, that's the best source.
Okay. That's
Title 5 centers could probably go. I think there's other avenues and other trainings that they can get some, but for Title 22, for our peeps, best place to go, the only place is through that web link, mandatedreporter.com or
Yes,
whatever
right.
it is.
I just wanted to make doubly sure before we got too far down the road because I just don't want to. I saw a couple today and was posted the points up, and they were all the same. Oh dear, what happens if I a certificate? And I just want to make looking at that orange certificate.
So yes, we're again in this class. We're requiring it to have them show it to us in 6 months of renewal.
Good.
And so they either have to take the whole thing or take the child care provider portion. And if they are currently certified, we have other things that they do for the same hour. So we're doing a lot of work in this class, a lot of self-paced things that we will have students who are like
ready to rock and roll.
When like the COVID cloud lifts.
Yeah.
We want to get when the parents are like, we need it then, centers open back up. We want our students to be in there. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's
exciting.
Awesome.
So thank you again for your guidance on that. I like.
You're welcome.
A couple weeks ago, I'm like, what do you think
Good
about?
Good luck, everybody.
Like,
thanks, Darcie.
Like, do it. So yeah, absolutely. What a great team.
Yeah.
What a great class that we have. So thank you so much, Darcie. And if you would like a copy of this, I'll send you.
Okay.
The glitches and all.
I see enough of myself on the friggin' computer. I'm tired of it.
And again, please tap us for your classes because oh my gosh, Jody.
I will. I got you coming, and you know what, Jody, I'm going to think about that brain stuff. I may hitch up for one of the classes coming up, so we'll be in contact.
Yeah, there's like trauma.
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
And then I've written in.
All right, guys, have a great class.
Bye.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Darcie.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good
luck, everybody.
Yay.
Bye.
I know.
So great. So great.
Energizer Bunny.
Absolutely Energizer Bunny. What do you guys think? Any questions or like decompressing or what's your take on all this business? Wow. Overwhelming, mind-blowing. How's it going? Everyone's like silent.
Well, I think what we're asking to do is think about that from maybe an administrator's point of view versus being an employee in there. And it, as you can see, those roles and the things that the program administrators or supervisors, or, whatever you want to call them, have to deal with are significantly more complex than, and in a sense, I've been at both ends of it. And I will say that I much more enjoy being in the classroom where I don't have to worry about all that stuff.
Yeah, right. Because you actually.
I can't imagine having to deal with COVID and all of that right now.
What a headache, but I'm telling you, her dedication is just mind-blowing to me. Just unbelievable. Real quick, just as a reminder for the class, I need to see a student name. Like if I'm not seeing a picture, which is fine, videos we don't require, but if I don't see a name that matches our roster, I can't have you in the class. So yeah, because I can lock the class and we're supposed to be a little bit aware of that. So if your name's not on there, please update that, please. So we have a few minutes left and we wanted to maybe go over, and I'm gonna have to like see if my computer will open.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to go over, what do you think, Jody? Go over the assignment or the discussion board? Both. We can do that. Both.
Okay, yeah, let's go. Is everybody comfortable or starting to get the 3-pronged discussion board?
Let's talk about that. Yeah, because that's a little bit of a different format that you've probably had in other classes.
Unless you've had a class with me or for Paris, I don't know anybody else who does this.
Okay, good. So
And
I'm
the
gonna
idea and the essential piece is getting information and resources into your hands. And so it is really important when we're looking through this, if we're looking at a discussion board and we're in the grading side of it, all we see are what you submitted. And so it really helps us when you put option 2, designing environments, then we know what that is. And then when you reply to somebody, put reply to, well, we'll see who you're replying to, but make sure to address them by their name, but reply to option 2 reply, option number 2 reply. That helps us a lot as well.
like a header, like a little, like a,
Right.
what I'm doing, overstate the obvious, it helps.
Yeah, it really does, because then if I don't see that that you're responding to a particular option number, then I have to go back into every single thread and try to find where you're at. And that's why it takes me forever to grade things. The other piece that you should know about my grading is that I do try to respond to every single, I put comments in a lot of your work. I don't tend to put them in the discussion board necessarily, because I don't really have a high degree of confidence that students go back in once they've done their work and look at to see if anybody else replied to their work. I know you can see it.
If you subscribe to that or you bookmarked it, I think it will give you
Right.
updates on people who've responded to your posts.
Right.
But not
And
everybody.
that's the only way to do it. But so I would rather, I put my comments, which might have been a discussion board comment, back to you. You'll find them in the comments
on
of
the
the
grade sheet.
grading.
On the grade sheet, yeah.
On the grade sheet. So you'll find comments there, as opposed to, because a lot of times I get to it and it's after it's already closed and I'm not so sure you look for comments back to you. So that's, to me, the easiest way to do that.
So I'm sharing the screen here for the options on the discussion board. Does anybody have questions? And these seem really awesome. I really appreciate Jody setting these things up, and her wealth of knowledge is like, that's why there's 3 different ones, because there's so much to cover and we want to make sure it's covered, and as well as give you guys options. So
Right.
Option 1, early learning environments for infants and toddlers. Option 2, designing environments. And option 3, this is guiding principles for use of technology with early learning media and tech. Yeah, I've talked for a long time with Darcie on this business too. So whichever one grabs you, start that one, right? Start that one.
Yeah. And I try to make, if I do articles as a resource, I try to make them all about the same. And if there's something, 20 pages or something, I'll tell you what sections to read about it.
Sure.
But it's something, and then the videos, there's no longer than maybe this guiding principle for use of technology is actually a podcast, I believe.
Okay.
No, I take that back. That's in 220. There's a podcast in there.
Well,
And
you
so,
guys will get podcasts in here at some point.
Yeah, so you will probably get, but I really try to use a variety of media so that it helps you your time management. Say, oh, I can throw that podcast
Very cool.
here while I'm doing, and and um, that helps versus questions. I very questions, just personal experiences. What have you noticed about this? But every discussion board, no matter what it is, what I want to see is you connect whatever the resource is to the book. Make that kind of cross-reference between, oh yeah, I read it in this article, and in our textbook they talk about it, but maybe they say something different, or maybe they say the same, or maybe they bring in another topic that you hadn't thought about. But I want to see that connection piece that is there,
Right.
that you're using multiple. And you're welcome to also say, to quote somebody else's post and say, hey, Jocelyn brought up a really good point in her post about, that's great. That tells me that you're looking at not just your post, you're looking at others. And that always impresses me, and we'll usually get extra points for doing that. The one thing is, when you do make a statement that says something like, some of the ways the design of a classroom influences learning and behaviors is the placement of furniture. And then go on to the next question is, and in the sandbox area, stay on topic. If you put that topic sentence out there, follow that up at least 2 other sentences that support that. For example, you might want to have the furniture arranged such to make sure that there are no clear, long running paths for children to run through. See now how that supports that topic sentence. And then maybe I was in a classroom that wasn't set that up, and it was a problem, and the children were always running. It wasn't until we really sat back and just really observed the children's behavior when it was happening that we noticed, oh my gosh, this is where they're running from and to all the time, and we need to move this around. That's the kind of connection I'm looking for.
Good. Absolutely.
It's that kind of flow. It's one of my pet peeves, things that just get under my skin. When if I start out with, I like because it's not really what necessarily you like about that person's point. It's more like, you brought up a good point. What did they do? It's not about you. What did they do? What did they say that served your interest? So that's a kind of a higher level of discourse in conversations in the discussion boards.
I call it the Miss America response. I liked what you said because what you said was nice, and I like nice things, so I liked what you said. That does nothing.
It
Tell us.
didn't add anything to the
You
discussion.
didn't add anything. You just gave it like a thumbs up and a winky face, and like, no, this is college. We want to know how it connected to you, what it reminded you of, how it made sense to you, I use this is kind of like, I learned this in Peyton's first grade class. She was teaching the kids how to read, and they said, how do you make a connection? And that's just how I remember. And so we still use that. And here, oh, I connected to that, or reminded me of something like that. That's why I changed
Right.
the topic 30 times. But how do you connect to the material, especially if somebody offered something? How do you connect to that and then say, I like the yes, and yes, I agree with what you said. You made
Yes.
a point, and then you're like clicking it up a notch. You're offering something new.
And it might even be something as simple as, how would that work with, what are some ways that might work with children with special needs, or atypical children, atypically developing children versus typically developing children, something like that. How might that work with, very active children versus children who would rather said, just are more reserved. So it's looking at think broadly about these questions. The replies are not really just about like this.
Right.
And to the paragraph sentences. I haven't graded finished some into 20 today. It's like, it's gonna come. There'll
Come
be a point where you'll get a notice, you'll be like, okay, I'll expand on that. What did you add to this? And much that on that.
Is it just me or like it's like choppy? Like the whole night has been like really choppy with the video.
It has been. My internet's stable. Must be.
Darcy's was mine's obviously weird. I think the boys are watching YouTube or something. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I'll double check that. But before we go, I wanted to just touch base on the assignment for the week. Yeah?
Ah, yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm using the wrong mouse on the wrong computer. So beautiful. So we, in our book, under the assigned readings on the schedule, it said on the syllabus, it said read Appendix C. So what we did is we adapted Appendix C to something that would be useful now.
Oh, yes.
Instead of, normally we have you go out and find a program and actually do a face-to-face like program evaluation, just like community care licensing would do, right? So we took the Head Start form that was in our book. That was like a little tiny part of it.
Right.
I went back to Head Start, got the full thing, and then I took it out and took out a few little sections that we didn't need to go into. But there is a quick little video on community care licensing, and the screener form is what I'm talking about. I made it. Can you guys all see this? The purple assignment header. I made the screener form something that we can use. Now, it is a Word document. You guys I'm suggesting that you guys download it, fill it out, and you can either upload it save it as a file. Please put your name in it so we know whose it is. Right. Even though it does come under your profile, it's always a good practice to put like Sarah, like health and safety screener Sarah, or your how do you want to do it, Jody? Do you want it like last name?
I don't have a problem with first or last names. It just a name somewhere doesn't matter, and just we don't really need the class number per se. Just I guess that's all I need is just maybe spring 2021 or something like that. Just so it's not going to really make a difference because it's going to be in our course shell.
Right. And so what you're going to do is
so at least your name.
Right. And what you're going to do is you're going to print out the form, and it really is just a checklist. It's a grid. It looks very similar. I think if I click on it right now, it's going to throw off the whole situation. So I'm not going to do that. But what it is, it's literally just just looks like Appendix C. And if you were from community care licensing, the goal here is a yes, right? And when you're looking at a certain area of a center or anything that you're evaluating, you're looking for a yes. Now, I'm not saying that every time your place is evaluated, it's going to be a yes. That's the goal. But for this particular assignment, we're pretending that we are evaluating. We are acting as if we are pretending that we are evaluating a program. And so everything is yes, but how do you know it is a yes? So for example, so I put the form here. I also put it in the module underneath. And so for example, let me pull out our book and look in Appendix C. And I will just do one of the questions that's here in Appendix C.
I've got it pulled up on my screen. Do you want me to read?
Okay, cool. You want to share?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll stop
yeah.
share. How about I stop sharing, you pull it up? Because okay. I'm a little nervous on this end. So we're going to act as if you were literally walking down, and I won't let me stop share. Hold on. Oh, okay. God. Oh, God. Maybe try to do it. You try to do a new share, and then it might bump me out on purpose, which is good. That's a good thing. Yeah, that's it.
Did it work?
Yes. It says Jody,
okay,
Jody Johnson, Creaky Bones is sharing a document.
Let me make this bigger.
So this is, I adapted this from Head Start, and I gave you examples, like the first section in each header, I gave you examples. So if what you're looking for in this middle column, you're going to put yes on all of the things. I didn't put the yes or no boxes in there.
Right.
Everything's going to be a yes, just like here in Appendix C, you had a yes or a no. You can just write yes. But how do you know it's a yes? right? So here for the very first question, all areas are safe, clean, and free from pests. But how do you know? Like you could say, well, I looked. Okay, what did you see or what didn't you see? Like, so I gave you examples all the way through the document, first section in each header. For example, safety rules. So they're asking all areas safe, clean, and free from pests. Safety rules are clearly posted and followed. As evidence, tell me what you saw that showed me that they are following the rules. Followed as evidence by staff reminding children and modeling correct safety procedures. All areas are observed, meaning I used my eyeballs. I saw them. They are observed to be clean with no visible dirt or markings. No visible pets, smells, or evidence of feces found. Yeah, this is like legit what community care licensing would do. This is how I want you to know that things like exits are clearly marked and emergency evacuation routes and other safety procedures are posted in the classroom and in appropriate locations throughout the site. Yes, you're going to write yes in the middle box, but tell me how you know that is a yes.
Okay, so let's hear from you about one of these.
Yeah.
Exits are clearly emergency evacuation and other safety procedures are posted in the classroom in appropriate locations of the site. So what you expect to see that would show you evidence would be evidence that had been met.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you see?
So I gave yes, jump in.
I think clear pathways that lead to the exit doors and maybe like signs that point out in like big colors where the exit is.
Very cool, Nicole. Very good.
Very
Right.
nice.
There's one of your bullets right there.
There's one of them.
Yeah. We're looking through 3 bullets.
If you're working in a program right now, you're required to have exit plan posted in your that shows the exit route from your classroom to a set. Is that supposed to be by a door?
You need your vision
It is. And so that's another thing you would expect to see. You would expect to see an emergency evacuation flyer posted next to the second door in the classroom. So maybe even by each door.
Right.
So yeah, so if you don't see that in the classroom, so you've got things that are marked maybe on the floor, like Nicole said, you have is Nicole, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Nicole.
So Nicole, you had the clearly marked, and you had arrows and you had signs, and then you also had the evacuation plan that's required by licensing to be posted by every door. So you got that.
Right.
So it's like, are you getting this idea of like what we want to see now? It's really just how do you make this be a yes?
So I gave some suggestions under the assignment description as 3 different perspectives. Imagine if you were a teacher working there. How would you, right? How would you want your facility how would you know you were in a safe facility? And so that'll help guide, so I literally pretend I walk myself through, like, it's an imaginary place, but maybe what if you were the owner director like Darcie? How would you know that these were ready to go? Right. And then the third perspective was a parent. If you were on a parent tour, what would you want to see on the walls or the safety or in a binder? Like, how would you know this is a place that you want to place your child? Yeah.
Oh, there.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Yeah. And so there it is. So there it is.
So tips, literally pretend you are doing the assessment in person. What would you want to see? How would you know the center met the goal? Say, what if you were working with community care licensing? Perhaps pretend you were the owner director. How would you want your facility to measure up? What would it look like? Describe the evidence clearly. What if you were a parent on tour? What do you see to help you know this is a safe place for your child? So any one of those ideas, it doesn't have to be the one, like tip number 1 all the way through.
Right.
But if you used your mind to be like, okay, so this is what they're looking for. How would we know that's an automatic yes. And define it clearly. Define it clearly. It'll take a little bit of time to go
Right.
through one and write those 3 bullets, but I left it as a Word document so you guys can pull it out, type it in, play with
Right.
it. You can make it as long as you need.
And wait, it's not due until
2 weeks?
yeah, it's not due until the 28th, I believe. Oh, this says due March 14th. Was that right?
I don't remember. We can always push it back.
We talked about it last night quite a bit. And
Yeah, but I don't remember what we came up with. What was the
we were doing 2 classes last night.
well, what we landed on versus what I
What
can
we
do that.
landed
I'll
on. Let
do
me
that.
go look at this. Let me go look at the
So it is about is it 8:30 right now? Does anybody have
Yeah.
any questions on the assignment or the discussion board?
No, because really all they have is that. And then the other piece that is consider the walls when you're doing your when you're designing your indoor environment. You'll need that to consider the walls. And then this is the updated guidance for COVID-19. It's a package, and it says what the parameters are for safety. And it changed so fast, I can tell you that's the right one.
Right. We're just trying to give you the most updated information as we go forward. Yeah. Good. Any more questions on the discussion board or the assignment?
I
Again,
had a question
yeah, jump in.
for I think it was the appendix checklist assignment.
Mhm.
Are bullet points okay, or do you want full sentences?
Well, put a bullet point and then, yeah, it's almost a full sentence. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 bullet points.
Right, for the checklist, yeah, that'd be fine. We're
Yeah.
not gonna check for grammar on that one.
And think about it. If you literally were community care and licensing, you would have a clipboard and you would just like write a statement
Right.
and write a statement and write a statement. Done.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Good. Great question, Nicole.
Who
And if you
is,
guys-
I just want to check with XXX, Retroblade is here.
I don't know who that is.
Is that somebody in our class?
Evidently, this is not the first time I've seen that name. And so that's why I'm
Oh,
asking.
okay.
I need to know who that is.
They're not muted, and that's why I was just curious.
Yeah. And so if I don't know who that is, I can kick him out of the class. And I don't want to have to do that if it's one of our students.
Right,
So
exactly.
please let me know if I see that name again. I'm going to have to block it. And so again, because there have been issues with people like hacking classes and things
Right.
like that, so we have to be very aware of that situation.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I was kind of hinting at earlier. So yeah, you can change your name by hovering over the 3 dots and says, you know, update your name or change your name or whatnot. So please do that. Okay. So yeah, it's 8:30. I'm going to be very
Yep.
respectful of your guys' time. If you have any other questions about any of this, just reach out to us at any time. We're here for you, and we definitely want you
Yeah.
to be successful in the class. So chances are, if you have a question, somebody else has the same question, and if the
Right.
question pops up twice, I just do a whole announcement. Hey, as you're working on this, keep this in mind
Yeah.
as a guidance and piece like that. So
Yeah,
I
we
will
should-
process this recording and then have this ready to go. I can do that tonight.
All right,
You guys can look back and maybe rewatch the instructions and things like that. Good.
Thank you so much.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Nicole.
You're the guest speaker.
Bye,
Yeah.
Melody. Bye, Nicole. Bye, Adriana.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye.
Great questions tonight, Nicole. Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye, Retroblade.
I know. It's like, yay, Manga, but I don't know who that is, and so I
I'm just reading.
I can't give credit. I don't have no idea. So this happened same thing happened last week, and I was messaging privately in the discussion board, and
You know, and I can't even remove them. That's the